Hello, Patriots. My name is Robert Patrick Lewis, and I'm coming to you again as one of the co-founding members of First Amendment Praetorian. If you haven't seen us or heard of us or interacted with or seen us at any events, we are a group of military, law enforcement, and intelligence community veterans who provide pro bono intelligence and security services at religious and patriotic events. I only have a little bit of time to put this video out, which is seems to be a growing trend these days. We just wrapped up our 7th op doing the Million MAGA March on Saturday in DC, and then the Walkaway event there in DC the following day. And it looks like now we will be on op number 12 before this week is over. Things are pretty busy these days, but that's a good sign. The men and women on our team, we fully believe that in order to take our republic back, we truly need people to stand up, make their voices heard. These events are a very important part of that. And our part is to ensure that people can feel safe and be at these events so that people can't ruin them and destroy it and silence our voices and stop people from being able to stand up and make their voices known. I have a couple things I'd like to go over. First, I want to go over some basic lessons learned that we've learned from doing these different events, from the intelligence that we've been gleaning and what we've been seeing actually happen on the ground. I'd like to talk to you about the upcoming events that will be coming up this week, the places that we're already got people on the way to, and also why it seems that we're always asking we're always asking for money. We are a 100% crowdfunded group. We exist solely off the generosity of Americans. Thank you. A lot of you stepped up over this weekend and donated to our campaign. God bless you, and thank you for that, because the only reason we can go to these events is because of the generosity of Americans. You'll realize by the end of this video why that's so important. We have four events throughout the rest of this week, right? So just do some mental math and calculations on how much it costs to have 30 or 40 people at the drop of a hat have to get hotel rooms and planes and food and rental cars and all kinds of stuff. So just think about that. That's why it seems we're always asking for money, because we're busy. There's a lot of stuff going on. And if you do see that as important, if you do feel like that's something that you want, if you believe that these events are very important, and if you also believe that it's important for people to be safe while they're at these events, if it's important for a group like ours to be there and actually protect these people standing up at these events, making their voices and their presence known, then thank you. We ask that you please can donate to our crowdfunding campaigns, because that's the only way we can be there. I will have the links in the notes below this video, and you can also go to 1apraetorian.com. That's the number 1, the letter A, Praetorian, as in the Praetorian Guard, Praetorian, and you can donate either through our crowdfunding campaign or through Patreon and do a recurring donation. And thank you for all of our patrons who have done that. I know I owe you guys a video. I promise one's coming. It's been busier than we ever imagined. I never, in my wildest dreams, when we started this a month and a half ago, thought that we would already have our 7th down and that we would have 12 before we even had a month and a half under our belt. But that's the world that we live in these days. Before we get into any of that, I really want to talk to you about something that's important. If you are the type of person to pray, if you're the praying type, Tracy Beanz, we just found out that her house burned down today. My intel team sent me over some tweets that she had put out before I started recording this video. If you know who I am, if you follow me on any of the social media, you more likely than not know who Tracy Beanz is. She's an amazing patriot. She's got a spine of steel. She is an amazing person that is pushing for this republic very hard. She's been doing so for a very long time. So I'd ask that you please say a prayer for her. Her and her family are okay, but her house burned down. That's a pretty scary thing. I've had a lot of people asking me about it today. A lot of the people on my team are asking me if there's, foul play or anything else. We don't know. I've reached out to her. My phone died because I've been on it pretty much nonstop. I found out about these upcoming events when I landed, flying back from DC. So it's been nonstop since then. But as soon as she gets back to me, for the people on my team, I'll let you know. For the rest of you, I'm sure that she will let you know. But the important thing is that she's okay. Please say a prayer for her and her family, because that's, no matter, even if everybody's okay, it's a pretty emotionally troublesome event. And God bless her. And hope everything goes fine for her and they can get situated pretty quickly. So something that I wanted to talk to you guys about that we've learned over the last 7 events that we've done, and from spending all day every day combing through intelligence regarding these different subversive events. We went to the DC Million MAGA March on Saturday, and it truly was beautiful. I believe there was at least 1 million people there. It was absolutely enormous, and it was wonderful because none of our people there were violent. Nobody was there burning things down or causing looting and mayhem. Everybody was very peaceful. When we got to SCOTUS, it was so packed that you could hardly get through. It was shoulder to shoulder, and still everyone was very nice. We had intelligence before we left Freedom Plaza. We have people, again, we have the people that you see that are wearing these shirts that are at these events. We have a lot of people that you don't see. We have people that are dressed up just like normal Joes walking around the street in perimeters around the event. We have other people that are dressed up to look like these different subversives that actually intermingle with them and get into their groups. And we had some people on Saturday that were in one of those positions. And they saw that there was a group of about 70 to 90 Antifa people that were amassing on the south side of SCOTUS. So we had, they were on the opposite side of where this big group of people were preparing for the event. We got word that as we started leaving Freedom Plaza, that about 24 of them changed into MAGA gear, so they could go blend in and start creating chaos within our group and in our ranks. And this is something that we've seen continually. So before we left Freedom Plaza, we got mentally and physically prepared in case something happened, and it didn't. And I still am absolutely positive that it happened because they realized the massive amount of people that were there. And again, all the people that were there in MAGA gear, all the people that were there for this event to enjoy it, were peaceful. They were happy. Even as I had to make a beeline through this enormous crowd to get to the stage to get the speakers there safely, nudging through people. They couldn't have been nicer, right? People would move out of the way. They would make it easier for us to get up there, even though there were hundreds of thousands of people shoulder to shoulder right there on the lawn up to the steps of SCOTUS. They were very nice. And I am positive that when these 24 people and the rest of their group went around the corner and saw just how many patriots there were there, they had second thoughts. They decided to go away and not make any trouble, and they waited until later until they could pick off stragglers. Why is that? Well, we've seen time and time again, they will not hit hard targets. They only want to hit soft targets. In the last video, I called them hyenas, and that's a very good way to think of it. A hyena doesn't attack a lion head on, and especially one hyena. They wait until either they have an enormous pack that can all attack the one single animal at the same time, or they'll try to pick off, wounded animals that can't really defend themselves. That's the same thing that we see with these groups, where they pick off stragglers, they pick off people by themselves, they pick on people that are in wheelchairs, they pick on people because they feel that it's a soft target. They think it's going to be an easy target. Don't make yourself a soft target, right? So here's a key thing. These events are a huge part of taking our republic back. We need to do it. We need to make our numbers known. We need to be loud. We need to be nonviolent and peaceful. We need to be patriotic, and we need to yell as loud as we can to let these different corrupt officials and bureaucrats and everybody else that's trying to destroy our country know we're here. There are millions, hundreds of millions of us. There are a very large group of our countrymen and women who love this country, and we're not going to sit back and let it go. The time for being silent, the time for the silent majority is over. It's time to stand up and make our voices known and be loud. So if you have friends that are going with you to these events, please, again, try to encourage your friends, your family, coworkers that may be into that, to go with you to these events. But ensure that you do not make yourself a soft target. Go to these events with a group. If you're leaving, make sure you have a group. So in the military, we always had battle buddies. So you use buddy groups just in case something happens to you when you're on patrol or you're somewhere else, and at least there's somebody there to help and somebody that can go get help if it's needed. Let's use this same system. If you go to one of these events, make sure you go with at least a battle buddy, preferably a group. Anytime that you're leaving the event, even if it's just to go get something from your car, do it with a battle buddy. Do it with a group. You do not want to make yourself a soft target because, again, they don't hit soft targets. And that's the same thing that we saw even on DC. We were there at the event. We had people around the crowd. We had people around the speakers. And they chose to go, and they even said on some of their social media channels that they were specifically looking for stragglers. They were looking for singles. They were looking for people they could pick off easily. And that's it. It really is disgusting. It's cowardice. It's what it is. But you have a dozen 20 to 30-year-olds that are trying to pick off a single 75-year-old man or woman. It really is. It's gross, and it shows that they have no character, and it's disgusting. But they are like hyenas. So just remember that. If you can't go to these events with a group, but you still go, again, God bless you. MAGA people are very, very nice. They're very helpful and thankful, and they just, we realize that we're all in this together, and a lot of them will just give you the shirt off your back. If you don't go with a group, make a group at one of these events. Meet other people. Ask other people if they can help you. Just like if you're getting on an airplane, you ask, and you need help putting your bag up in the overhead. You ask, if there's a larger man by you, hey, could you please help me? This is kind of the same thing, and I promise you a lot of people will. If you see one of our people, there's a good chance that we can either help you get someone or we can help get a group together. But it's very important that you do not make yourself a soft target. So always travel in groups when you're at these events. It is absolutely necessary that every American who can go to these events. And I'm about to talk about some more events that are coming up that we will be at. But please either go with a group, make some new friends when you're at one of these events. Just make sure that you don't make yourself a soft target. And everywhere that you go, you have a group of people that can help if you get into trouble. And from the beginning, you might not get into trouble because they don't like to attack groups. They only like to attack soft targets. Speaking of upcoming events, as my plane landed yesterday, we were asked to do 4 more events, possibly 5 actually, for the Stop the Steal movement in Atlanta, Georgia this weekend. This week and weekend. So we already have a team that's on the way out there to Atlanta. We will have a pretty sizable force there. We will have ISR, which means we'll have drones overhead with really cool high-speed cameras. We'll have surveillance cameras all around the place. We've already begun talking to the local law enforcement, so we have our connections there. We have everything put together. This is a beautiful thing. If you've been paying attention, you know that Georgia was one of the sites, Atlanta primarily, was one of the sites of some hijinks, for lack of a better word. There are a lot of strange things that should statistically be impossible that happened in terms of the election in Georgia. And we have some people from our group that have worked on some of the high-tech aspects of that, and hopefully at one point we can talk about that. But we know that there are a lot of bad elements in Georgia, so it's very important that they're capitalizing on the momentum of the Million MAGA March that they had in D.C. over the weekend, and they're going to continue doing events. And again, I can't stress this enough. I think that being there and being loud and being patriotic and making your voice known is one of the most important things that we can do right now if we want to bring back our republic. It doesn't only help you feel better. It helps all these other Americans that are around that feel marginalized, right? Maybe they still watch CNN or MSNBC. I don't know why they would, but there are still millions who do. And they think that they're all alone. They think that the conservative movement, that the MAGA movement is a small part of the U.S. and that the demographics have shifted, and so this is a progressive leaning nation. It's not. The problem is the media and social media give a lot of these groups that truly are a very small part of the population an oversized megaphone. They use the algorithms on social media to make them seem more popular than they are. They use sock puppet accounts to give fake followers to a lot of these insane lefty journalists and activists. They use the algorithms to help a lot of these blue checkmark Antifa and subversive types seem like they are getting more traction than they really are. In the media, of course, the fiery but mostly peaceful protests. They do whatever they can to make it seem that these groups are more popular and larger and more powerful than they truly are. The best way to counteract that is for us to actually go to these events and do like we did this weekend in D.C. and have massive amounts of peaceful, patriotic, and loud Americans. Because they can't lie about that. They can lie. They can show whatever footage they want on CNN and MSNBC, and we know that they did that. We know that they tried to show small crowd sizes. I saw sock puppet accounts all over social media since Saturday saying that there were small crowd sizes. Let me tell you something. My first business in college was producing large music festivals. This was by no means a small crowd. It was enormous. It was, I would not be surprised if we found out it was 1 million people. But we need to capitalize on that momentum, because every time an American sees that, and it's not just media, you can go to one of these events, take pictures yourself of these crowd sizes, and you can share it with everybody you know. You can share it on social media. They might shadow ban you, but you know what? Every time a friend of yours retweets it, it's getting further and further out into the ether, and more people are seeing it. So while CNN can show, 3 hours after the event is over and try to say that that was the crowd, every time that you share one of these primary pictures that you took, it gets around that. It helps to feed it. Every time you see another patriot putting out one of these pictures, if you retweet it, it helps get beyond the algorithm. It helps get it out there further and further and further. And that can really only happen if there are large masses of us at these events. So please, if you are there, if you are close, if you're within a day's drive, please go to Atlanta. These events are going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Wednesday and Saturday are the really big ones. Again, our team is already on the way out there, so we're going to do everything that we can to keep you safe. We're going to have a presence that you'll see. We'll have a presence that you don't see. We'll have drones overhead to film anything. If there's any shenanigans, we will have it on tape. And we have the ability to take anybody that we catch on tape doing anything illegal and get every single bit of their information to hand off in a package to law enforcement. So again, we're going to try to make it as safe as we can. Thankfully, the event organizers reached out again as soon as I was landing yesterday. So we've been planning nonstop to the point that my phone completely died because I was talking and messaging on it so much today. But we're going to be doing our part. So please do your part. Okay, we will be there to try to make it safe. But again, if we want Americans to understand that there truly are a large number of us that are very concerned about our country and that support President Trump and want this republic to continue to stand, you need to be there, you need to be loud, you need to be patriotic, and you need to make your voice heard. And this is a great opportunity to do that. Georgia, there's a lot of hijinks in Georgia, so again, what an appropriate place for us to be there. They have a lot of conservatives in their legislature. They have people that are elected office there that call themselves conservatives that don't seem to be very conservative. So again, let them know. Make your voice loud. Make it understand that we are watching them. We see everything that we do, that they do. We are paying attention, and we are not going to be quiet about it. We're not going to let them get away with this without us doing something about it. So be there. That's all that we need to do. Be there, be loud, be patriotic, make your voice heard, take pictures, and when you get back, share those pictures. So whatever CNN says, you have proof that they're lying. You can send it out to your buddies. If your friends and family don't come this weekend, or this week or weekend, and they see a picture on CNN or from the New York Times or Time Magazine calling it a small crowd size, show them your pictures and ask them why. Why would they lie about the crowd size? I saw this with my own two eyes. Why would they be lying about that? We saw that they were doing it for the Million MAGA March. We can be assured they will do it again this weekend for these Stop the Steal events in Atlanta. So again, that's a great red pill moment for you. That's a great opportunity for you to ask your friend. If they come up with that line and say, oh, I heard it was just a small crowd size, show them your pictures. Say, no, this is the reality. This is what I saw. Why would CNN lie to you about that? Why would the New York Times lie to you about that? It's just a great opportunity. And again, even if it's not your friends and family, share it on social media, share it to every person that you can. Show other Americans that there are Americans all across the country that are standing up and they're sick of what they're seeing. It's one thing that, I've studied a lot of Marxist dictatorships, and it really is scary because that's a main thing that they all do with their propaganda, is they try to make people that dissent, they try to make people that would be willing to stand up feel like they're crazy. They try to marginalize and alienate them and make them feel like they're the only ones who feel this way. That's why, different dictatorial regimes force people, under threat of violence or even death, to put on a big smile and act like they're happy and never complain, because they want them to make the people that don't feel happy feel like they're crazy, feel like they're the only ones. And that's what we're seeing right now in our country, and it's disgusting, and it's scary that we could see it happen here in the U.S., but we are, and we need to do everything that we can about it. But we don't need to burn things down. We don't need to cause violence or chaos. We need to be peaceful. We need to be loud, and we need to make our voices heard. So we will be there at these events, and it is, I gotta say, Thankfully, a lot of you stood up over the weekend and donated to our crowdfunding campaigns, and I am very thankful for those of you that did. It's only because of those of you that did that that we can afford at the last minute to pay for hotel rooms and flights and everything else. Again, every member of our team volunteers their time. We don't take a paycheck for this stuff. We offer our services pro bono, which means we don't charge these event organizers anything because we feel, number one, a lot of the organizers we work with, they don't have the money to pay for, especially the level of security services we provide with a lot of different people, both on-site, doing intelligence off-site, and all the other stuff. But in these crazy times, we understand the level of security and intelligence that they need. But we also feel like that money that they get in donations would be better spent on the thing that they're trying to do. All these different events that they plan around the country and all the other stuff that they're doing. We may be doing another Walkaway event either Saturday morning or Sunday this weekend as well. So that's why we may have 5 events between now and Sunday there in Atlanta. And again, Brandon Strzok, I'm very thankful. I've been allowed to work with and be around and talk to Brandon Strzok, Ali Alexander, all these other great influencers, Tracy Beanz. I mean, that's, for somebody like me, that really is a big fan of rebellious politics, right? The people that are not the stuffy conservative ink, but the people that are pushing back against the system, the people that are pushing back against the kind of cronyism and all the corruption that we've seen. Those are my rock stars, right? So, like, being able to be tied at the hip with these people for a day it really is amazing for me. And Brandon and Ali, they have been pushing it to the limit over the last several months. Brandon's been doing events every single weekend, sometimes several of them, leading up to the election. Now that we see all this craziness going on, I remember talking to their team at the last event before the election, and they were saying, yeah, we're taking a break. You know, thankfully, after the election's over, we're going to get a little bit of a break. It's much needed. We're so tired. We've been traveling all over the place and never getting any sleep. And then the election craziness happened. Ali, Brandon, these people started planning stuff, and they're right back to it because they love the country more than they're feeling sorry for themselves. They feel tired. They feel exhausted, mentally, physically drained, but they understand this time that we're at in our history, it is needed. We need people to stand up. We need event organizers to bring all these people together. And as long as they're doing it, if they reach out to us, we are happy to go there and provide our services to make sure that the organizers and the attendees can be safe while they're doing it. But again, it's all these different events. The only reason we can pay for these last-minute hotel rooms and flights and enough food, I mean, imagine it for parents out there. Just think, if you have a couple of teenagers, just think about 30 to 50 grown men and women and some very large, Ranger Battalion, middle linebacker type men, having to feed them at the drop of a hat 3 times a day for 4 days, plus snacks, right? It's not cheap. And that's why your donations go so far and help us so much, because that's what it goes to. Again, we don't take any paychecks. Everybody volunteers their time 100%. So that's where it's all going to, and it provides us the opportunity. And I am certain that even after this event is over Sunday, it's going to happen again next week. It's going to happen until the Republic is saved, until all of this is over, until the election has been finalized and President Trump is back in office, and hopefully all the people that have committed all this fraud are in jail. But I don't want to get too over my skis. For the time being, as these events keep being scheduled, as long as you keep donating to our campaign, which again, the links you can find in the notes below, or you can go to Praetorian.com to click on the donate link. And as long as Americans continue to donate to our crowdfunding campaign, we will be there, and we'll be there to help everybody that we can. So I want to say thank you very much. Please, if you have the opportunity, if you are there, if you're within a day's drive, or if you have friends and family that are in the area, please, at least one of these days, try to go to Atlanta. Try to be there at the state capitol on the steps to make your voice heard, to let people know that, to let other Americans that may think like you but haven't actually stepped up to go to one of these events, let them know. It's time. We are at the time. The Republic is in trouble, and it needs every single one of us to be loud, to be there, and to be patriotic, and to make your voices heard. So I hope to see you there. Please do it safely. Please go with a group, or again, meet a group when you're there. But most importantly, be there, be safe, be patriotic, make your voice heard, and let everyone know that we are no longer taking this sitting down. Why are we doing this? Deo et Patria. We're doing this for God and country. It's the most worthy cause